Hey dreamers, this is Anisha Jennings, a fellow immigrant and an entrepreneur. From being an engineer in India to building my tech business in the US, I've lived the journey you're on. Welcome to Your American Dream podcast, where we turn immigrant challenges into superpowers. Are you feeling out of place, struggling with a job hunt, or simply missing home? I've been there, and I'm here to guide you through it. In each episode, we'll dive into real stories, practical advice, and mindset that will help you write your unique success story. From navigating cultural differences to building a purposeful life, I've got you covered. So if you're ready to turn your immigrant experience into your greatest strength, let's dive in. Your American dream starts now. Welcome to Your American Dream. I'm Anisha Jennings, and today I'm so excited to welcome Luana Mendoza Evans, or Lou, founder of Thread Studio, a boutique brand strategy and fractional chief of staff consultancy. With over 15 years of experience shaping strategy and executive communications, Luana now helps founders and corporate escapees clarify their story, strengthen their positioning, and build brands that feel authentic and growth ready. Welcome, Luana. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hi, Anisha. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
You're so welcome. So tell us about your story, your early life, your transition from settling into the US, and your early life, corporate life. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to take us back to my very first day of school in the US. That was in third grade. And so when I arrived, all of the girls' tables were taken, and I sat with three boys. The teacher was going on and on in a language I did not understand. I think I knew maybe 2 words in English at the time. And the tears just start falling. Then I feel a tap on my shoulder, and it was a little girl, and she tells me, "Don't worry, I also don't speak English."
That is so sweet.
It was. And that moment, I feel taught me something I didn't even have a word for back then, which was that connection changes everything. And what that little girl did for me was make me feel like I wasn't alone.
Yes.
And that is what a great personal brand does. It helps your audience feel like you understand them. So, yeah, fast forward a few years, I put myself through college, and a year after graduation, I was a pregnant single mom and I lost my job. But what I didn't lose was the confidence that I was going to be an amazing mom and have a successful career. And that season taught me that clarity isn't just about strategy. It's about knowing who you are and what you stand for, even when everything around you feels super chaotic.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, no, years later, I stood on stage receiving my MBA in global leadership with
Wow.
my son Santi cheering for me in the audience. And between those two moments, I built a 15-year career in corporate strategy and executive communication. Most recently, I was at USAA in the PNC Chief of Staff office, and I was helping Fortune 100 executives tell stories that moved thousands.
Wow.
And yeah, and I learned that you can't influence people with bullet points on a slide.
Yes.
Nobody's going to do anything by looking at a slide. You need a story.
Yes.
And so I was the person helping leaders find that clarity in that chaos.
Wow. Wow. So looking at you now, right? Nobody would have thought that that was your story. So tell us about that journey, what it felt like in that moment, right? You had that other little girl come and reach out to you. And now I'm sure you are that person for so many others. So if somebody is in that situation right now where, English is not their first language, and in order to survive in the US and survive and thrive, English is so important. So what would be your advice on how to approach that situation?
Well, I'll take you back to what made me start Thread Studio and then how I help people, because that's where that advice comes in, right? So in corporate, they tell you bring your full self to work, right? You hear it all the time.
Right.
But you can't really do that because corporate teaches you to be polished and professional, to stick to the agenda, to talk about the business and the organization, never too personal, move on, let's stick to it. And also, there's already a structure around you.
Mm-hmm.
Have a brand, you have a system, you have a title, a reputation, and you're supported by that infrastructure.
Right.
Then you leave and that infrastructure disappears. And suddenly in entrepreneurship, you're the strategy, you're the system. When you're
Right.
launching your own business, now you really have to turn it up. You're the brand. You have to let people see you, not just the credentials after your name. And that's the shift that a lot of people leaving corporate struggle with. And not just leaving corporate, but leaving your country, right? And so I started Thread Studio last year because I realized I was helping Fortune 100 executives tell clear stories, but now I can have more of an impact in the community, helping entrepreneurs start their businesses.
Yes.
And so now that I started my own business, welcome to the corporate escapee club. I suddenly had scattered ideas myself. So I did for myself what I had done for others. I found that golden thread from all of the loose threads in my head, and I built the foundation and I created the systems. And so now I partner with corporate escapees like myself and entrepreneurs who are brilliant at their craft, but they're overwhelmed trying to package their expertise into a brand that people can understand.
Right.
So I don't reinvent anybody. I help them excavate the brand story that's already inside of them, turning their expertise and life experience and culture into a powerhouse brand that their clients trust,
Mm-hmm.
invest in, and rave about so that they can feel confident launching their business with systems that support the life that they actually want.
So, what made you decide that you want to leave corporate and build Thread Studio? I'm assuming the name Thread Studio is because of those loose threads that were in your head.
Absolutely.
But you can tell us a little more about how you founded it, why you founded it, and how did Thread Studio, the name, came into being.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, I was helping executives with launching programs and, you know, if they're being able to share those stories confidently. And
Mm-hmm.
now I had the opportunity. So I actually was laid off last year and I took that and I actually was talking to my therapist a year before, telling her, you know what? It just feels like corporate isn't the right fit for me anymore.
Mm,
And the money was good, the benefits were great. So I stayed.
yes.
And so when I was laid off, I took that as a sign that it was time. It was like a little push that I needed to
Mm-hmm.
really go all in on myself.
Right.
And like I said, that's when you really turn it up. I was behind the scenes for 15 years. I was the one that was putting together talking points for executives
Mm-hmm.
and creating those programs and helping them show up with confidence. And so
Right.
now I had to do it for myself. And
Right.
I wanted to help other people because when I started my business, I realized there's a lot of things that you don't learn in corporate about entrepreneurship.
Right. Right.
And I wanted to help people like myself that were just starting to have all of the tools and all of I had so much research that I had done. And so now the anchor of everything that I do is foundation before momentum.
Hmm.
So you can't market what isn't clear. That's like throwing spaghetti at the wall,
Right.
hoping that something sticks. And you can't scale what isn't structured. So we start with that clarity first. Build a 5 stage storytelling framework called the threaded story.
Oh.
But at the heart of it is clarity first, structure second, and then momentum. And so my work happens in 3 phases. Phase one is that foundation, that brand strategy. And this is where we help you find that golden thread. Every founder has one. It's the thing that connects your expertise, your story, your values. It runs through everything that you do. And so we
Mm-hmm.
define your positioning, who you help, what transformation do you create, what
Right.
makes your approach different. We craft your story, not a resume, right? Not a
Yes.
list of credentials, a story that helps people see themselves in you.
Right.
So that's phase one. And once you have that good foundation, then we go into phase two, which is the systems.
Mm-hmm.
That's launch support. So this is the scaffolding, right? If you will. We design your client journey, we structure your offers, we build that operational rhythm that lets you launch without all of that chaos.
Right.
And this is where most people skip ahead to marketing before they're ready. But if you don't have those systems, then every new client, you're starting from scratch,
Right.
right? You don't have those templates and all of those systems. Then phase three is that activation. So that's that ongoing strategic support. This is where that momentum happens, right? Because now the foundation is solid. And so now you launch and you think about visibility and partnerships and being consistent.
Right.
And so some clients need ongoing support there. So that's where my fractional chief of staff work comes in, being that strategic partner who keeps everything just moving forward.
Wow. Beautiful. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about, after you being behind the scenes and
Mhm.
now being a founder, what is the identity shift, like the hardest identity shift that has to happen for this to move from behind the scenes to being on the forefront?
Well, I feel like it's that, at USAA, for example, you have a title, and I was, director of operational planning, and you leave, and suddenly you don't have that title.
Right.
And so now you have a business, and it's it's almost simple, but you have to a lot of us forget, myself included, that what comes easily to you doesn't come easily to other people.
Right.
So you kind of have to zoom out, and this is what I help my clients with. You have to zoom out and really think about, what is it that I am good at?
Mm-hmm.
Also, you can be good at something and not enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Well, what is it that I am good at that I enjoy doing? And then that's how you focus on what work will bring you joy in your business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like that's more of the shift too. And the other thing is that you don't have to follow all of the rules in corporate. That's the beauty of having your own business, because you can create your own systems, you can create your own hours. You can say, I don't want any meetings on Fridays or Mondays, or this day is for this, and this is when I'm doing client work, and there's beauty in that. And in corporate, there's so many rules and so many things. There's always something about your role that you don't enjoy. Everybody goes through that.
Yeah.
And of course, the same in entrepreneurship, but that's the beauty in it, that you design your life around
Yeah.
your business.
Yeah, for sure. So you help entrepreneurs bring clarity to their story. Why do you
Yes.
think so many founders struggle to articulate their brand?
I think because when it's your baby, you have so many ideas, and you see somebody else doing something and you think, I should try that for my business. You have so many ideas, and then that's where, they come to me very scattered.
Mm,
And they also don't really know everything that it takes. So I'll take one client, for example. He came to me and he was going to start his own firm. And so we zoomed out and I walked him through. I said, okay, let's zoom out and tell me what worked in your past firm, because now he's going on his own. What didn't work? And how do you want your clients to feel?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
From there, we designed the client journey and the templates and all of those systems that really helped him show up with clarity. And he told me, my gosh, I was so overwhelmed. I was putting it to the back burner. I, to be honest with you, would have just, never got into it. And now it saves me so much time, and I have a good foundation that I can then build on. So that's what I love doing for my clients, that whether it be the brand strategy or the systems or their ongoing, that they feel confident.
Right.
That they don't have to worry, they already have a strong foundation. They have the systems. Now you feel confident, and you can spend time doing what you're so great at.
Yes, for sure. So, what are the patterns that you see among founders who scale successfully versus those who are stalling?
I think that it goes back to what I said earlier, that a lot of the times they start their business and they start marketing right away, or they
Yes.
pay for ads and things like that. And so it's like a house. You can't throw spaghetti at the wall, right? because if there's no foundation, the walls are just going to fall.
Right. Right.
And so that's where you really have to get super clear about how you want people to feel. Another client came to me and she already had her website. And the website just kind of spoke about their features and why they're so great. And so I said, okay, let's redo your website and talk about the client transformation.
Right.
Because as I mentioned, that's what a good brand does. It helps people see themselves in you and your story. Your website needs to answer what is a transformation that I will go through by hiring you.
Right. Right. For sure. So when we are talking about branding, right? What is the difference between branding that just looks good and branding that actually converts?
I think that it's about really getting introspective and figuring out why you are different than everybody else because there's so many other brand strategists out there.
Yes.
But in the age of AI, right, you have to really be authentic and share about your expertise and your personal struggles, your culture, and everything that makes you unique and authentic, because that's what ChatGPT will not spit out for you.
Right. Right.
You have to be authentic because that's what creates trust. And people don't really hire the most qualified person. They hire the person that they trust.
Yes. Yes. And that they can relate to, resonate with, and it like, feels very organic. And
Yes.
also with values, ethics, because skills can be taught, right? But character cannot be. Yeah. So you have to find that person. So
Yeah.
how do you help someone, reconnect with their authentic story after being years in the corporate environment?
Yeah, no, and that's why I love to work with corporate escapees because again, they're just so used to the corporate life and being
Right.
polished. And so they come to me and sometimes they're like, "Oh, I optimize synergies." And, they speak like robot. And I'm like, "Okay, let's zoom out." And you have to be really clear with people so that they can remember.
Right.
Guys, and I always say this, if your mom can't say what you do, then how is she gonna help you, with business? If the
Yes.
people that love you can't understand the work that you do, then you have a problem because you wanna be so clear in your story so that people can remember, and when they need you, they know, "Oh, that's who I need to call."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's all about being crystal clear and having that good foundation.
Right. Right.
Clear and consistent, right? Because your audience doesn't need somebody that's going to be perfect. They need to understand what you do and why it matters, And I see people rewrite their about page 47 times trying to sound impressive using all these corporate, jargon and buzzwords. But what actually connects is what sounds like you
Right.
when you share your story, not just your credentials
Right.
because you don't help, you know, it's not about being loud
Right.
or impressive. It's about being authentic.
Right. Simplicity sells.
Yes, absolutely.
So, what are the mindset shifts that are really critical and essential when you're transitioning from, um, an employee to a founder?
Oh my gosh, I love that question because it's something that I've been thinking about and that I actually talked about in one of my workshops. And I heard this in a book and I loved it. Your mindset is like a garden.
Mm,
And a lot of the times especially now with personal branding, people are scared of what others will think if
right.
they show up, if they
Right.
start, with their visibility. And so a lot of that is that mindset. They're scared of what people are going to think. And it's all about the story that you're telling yourself. And
Mm,
again, I come back to what comes easily to you doesn't come easily to other people,
right.
right? And we forget that. And we're all guilty of those stories in our head being a little bit negative sometimes, but we really have to be intentional about the stories that we tell ourselves because what you plant is what will grow.
Right.
Right. And so if you're planting, oh, who am I to charge this much? Or, all of those negative stories, that's what's going to grow. But if you plant belief,
Yes.
then that's and courage, that's what's gonna grow. And so you have to be super intentional because the energy that you put in is the energy that you attract. And so don't be telling yourself those stories of, who am I to charge that much? Because you have that expertise and you
Right.
have your life experience, everything that you've been through in your culture, that's power.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so tell yourself, I bring value. I help people.
Right. Right.
And those stories, that energy, it all starts with the story that you're telling yourself.
Yes. So when we're talking about corporate and moving to wanting to build business, there are a
Yeah.
lot of people who want to start businesses, but they're overwhelmed by the idea because, like you said, right, corporate, you have the title, you have the benefits, you have a good pay. And then when it's about starting a business, it's all this fear around how do I do it? Where do I start? The overwhelm, the fear, the imposter syndrome. So, what would be your advice on how to break through this and maybe start small, right? Like smaller steps and then they build up. So, what would be the first few like critical steps that somebody can take in order to overcome this?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because, of course, right now, unfortunately, there's so many people like myself that we got laid off.
Mm,
And so then you're kind of pushed into it. But then there's a lot of people that, like me before I got laid off, already have that thought that maybe corporate isn't the right environment for them, right?
mm,
And so I definitely don't recommend to just quit and, figure it out. No, like make a plan.
yes.
Again, go through the exercise of figuring out what you're good at, what you enjoy doing, and start it off the side
Yeah. Yeah.
little by little and bring in people. I always tell my clients there's beauty in bringing people along your journey as you're building.
Yes, for sure.
Yes, yes. I recommend that they put a plan together and that they start small off the side. And as it grows, then that's when the time can come to go all in on yourself. But also, I talked about the systems, right? So
Yes.
success isn't just revenue, right? For
Yes,
me, it's about building a business that works with your life,
for
not
sure.
against it. So
Yes.
again, you don't have to follow those rules from corporate.
Right. Right.
I'm a mom to 3 teenage boys. I have a blended family, and I can't have a business that requires me to be unavailable when they need me, right? I
Yes.
don't wanna be now I don't have to be stressed out when there's a sport event or a school
Yes.
event or pickup. I built systems that give me that freedom.
Right.
Clients get incredible service, but I'm not hustling 24/7. I
Right.
have those boundaries. And so think about what do you want your days to look like?
Mhm. Mhm.
Build a business around that.
Right.
Because we forget that when we leave corporate and we start our business, we're like, oh yeah, it's 9 to 5. These are the rules.
Yeah.
That's who. You're the boss.
Yes, yes, for sure. So also with, starting a business and building it up, there comes a time where there's lows, right? Like you are low on confidence. You are like, oh, this is too overwhelming. I don't know if I can continue doing this, or maybe I should just quit and go back to my full-time job. So what would be your advice on how you can build confidence without like, constantly having to seek external validation?
I love that question because for me, that's one thing that is really beautiful about my community and my culture, my heritage is it's built around community.
Right.
And when I was in corporate, was so used to having my team around, to having 38,000 employees at USA I can just reach out to.
Right.
And I started my business, and at the beginning, it was very lonely, and so then I, again, got strategic about, "Okay, let's make sure that we have strategic partnerships and communities." So I joined other communities, one of which is how I found you, Anisha,
Yes.
and it's other women founders, right? And that's online, but then
Yes.
there's also a lot of local communities here in town that I joined, other working moms, the Hispanic chamber. And so it's important to surround yourself around people that are also building
Yes.
because it can get very lonely, especially if you're a solopreneur. And so
Right.
don't give up, join those communities
Yes.
because that's the beauty of being in those communities. We cheer each other on and
Exactly.
if you need something, there's always somebody that you can reach out to because, I love my family and my husband and very supportive,
Yes,
but it's not the same as having somebody that is also in that same boat.
for sure, for sure. And there's a different, I feel like when you're in corporate and having like your colleagues and team support to when you're an entrepreneur and having that community, it feels like two different worlds.
Absolutely.
Can you comment on that a little bit?
It really does because and I love my team and I still, am in touch with them, of course, and now all of my friends from corporate world, but it is very different.
Mm-hmm.
In corporate, you're in the trenches, you're going through, and yes, you build incredible friendships. But then in the entrepreneurial world, there's different challenges. And so there's beauty in having that kind of army of other strong women around you that can understand what you're going through. And, you can either set up just a coffee chat to get to know each other, or
Yes,
you can go to feedback sessions and say, I'm having this situation. And there's like different forums for that. And so I think there's just beauty in having those different specific communities that
yes,
you can go to for especially in entrepreneurship because it's not easy. It's not easy. There's so many moving pieces. And
yes,
when it's your baby, like I said, there's so many ideas. And going back now, I thought of something too that one of the things that helps me because I'm the same way I get ideas, right? But I don't want to go down the rabbit hole.
yes.
I, have my systems, of course, and so I set up a strategic planning session for myself every quarter, and so if I
Wow.
have an idea, that's where that goes,
Wow.
and so then I wait until then so that I don't spend hours and hours of time that I don't have going through and trying to see if that idea could work for my business. So that's a bit of advice that I have for folks because it's so easy to
Yes.
want to, see an idea and, oh, I want to see if that works for my business, then you lose precious time.
For sure. That's great advice, actually. And I think, there is always this concept of scheduling CEO time for
Yes.
yourself. But I like this idea of, strategic planning for yourself because it's very easy to do it for others, other people's business. But when it comes to your own, it's sort of so hard because you put yourself last, right?
Yes.
So, what common mistakes do you think that early stage founders make when they're building their brand?
Well, I did mention already that they start marketing right away. I think that thinking that they can do it all, there's beauty in trusting that they're very good at their specific craft.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's other people that are very good at other things that they may need to help them launch their business.
Right.
And so it's important to trust those people because it's again, I go back to, right? It's not as easy for other people to do the other specific things. And so I think that trusting somebody else to focus on the brand strategy, on the systems, on the operation side, so that then you can focus on what you're really good at and
Right.
also the sales and client engagement is something that is important as you launch.
For sure. And that's so essential because when you're looking at your business, you're looking at it with so many different angles. But when somebody else is looking at it, they're just there looking at it with one objective and, helping you plan. So that's great advice. So, what does the American dream look like to you today versus earlier in your career?
Oh my gosh. I feel like there's been so many different phases of my life that I've gone through. I remember early on in my career, I had what I called a dream job, and it was at the time, right?
Yes.
I had a job where I was traveling, I was planning incentive trips for the company. I did build amazing relationships with it feels like everybody in the company, but then at the same time, I wasn't getting paid as much as, later on. And also, I was traveling so much and my son was so young that
Mm,
and that just didn't fit in my life
right.
anymore.
Right.
And so I feel like when you first move to America or when you first graduate college, You have this checklist of, I'm going to get my degree, I'm going to get a very good corporate job, and then I'm going to climb the ladder and I've made it.
Yes. Yes.
And now that I'm an entrepreneur, that looks so different.
Mm-hmm.
I have over 15 years of corporate experience. I know that it wasn't a good fit for me. And to be honest with you, last January, I never would have imagined that I was going to be an entrepreneur and have my own business. And now I have so much joy
Right.
in the work that I do with my clients. And so now I know that it's all about designing systems so that your business is not running your life.
Mm-hmm.
You really have to be intentional about the time that you spend with your family, with your kids. And also, you can't forget yourself. Self-care, time with my girlfriends. My girls' trips are non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. And so for me, the American dream is different now because I feel like at the very beginning, it's about making your family proud. And I feel like a lot of us can feel that so deep in our hearts, right?
Yes.
And now it's all about building a life that is sustainable,
Mm-hmm.
building a life that I love,
Right.
and not letting my business run my life.
Yes. Yes, for sure. So tell us a little more about Thread Studio and how can somebody work with you or just learn more about it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I will leave you with 3 things. So, number 1, your differences are your advantages.
Yes.
When you embrace your heritage, your struggles, your whole journey, instead of hiding it, people connect with you on a much deeper level. And what makes you different makes you irreplaceable, right? So, number 2, do the thing that feels uncomfortable, even when it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Take up space. Start before you're ready. You never know who you're inspiring just by showing up.
Yep. Yep.
And then number 3, build your foundation first, right? I've said it a few times, but it's
Yes.
so important. Find your golden thread, that one thing that connects all of your ideas and get clear on it because without that clarity, you show up scattered
Yes.
and second guess yourself.
Right.
But with it, you gain confidence that then flows into everything that you do. So foundation before momentum, always.
Beautiful.
But yeah, no, if this resonates with you and you're in between seasons, feeling capable but scattered, I see you. And the best place to connect with me is on LinkedIn. I share a lot about brand clarity, messaging, and building a business that actually supports your life. But you can also find this at threadstudiocollective.com.
Beautiful.
And just remember, right, your ideas, they're just loose threads. And so we can thread them into something powerful.
I love that. Love that. Thank you so much for being here, sharing your expertise, your knowledge, your wisdom, your experience from corporate and also starting your own business. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. It was my honor. Thank you so much, Anisha.
Thank you. As we close this inspiring conversation with Lou, I'm reminded that clarity is power. When your story is clear, your brand becomes confident. And when your brand is confident, growth follows. If you're listening and realizing your own brand needs that clarity, my agency helps founders like you build intentional, high converting websites that reflect your voice and your vision. We also provide podcast management services and growing team support so you don't have to scale alone. Whether you're stepping out of corporate, launching something new, or expanding your impact, Lou and me, we both here to help you build the infrastructure behind your dream. This is Anisha Jennings reminding you that your American dream isn't just about building a business. It's about building one that feels like you. Until next time. Thank you for tuning into Your American Dream. I hope this episode left you feeling inspired and ready to take on the world. Remember when I first landed in the US, lost and overwhelmed? Well, look at us now. We're building our dreams together. Your story matters, and I'm so honored to be a part of it. If you enjoyed our chat today, please spread the love. Rate, review, and share. Let's grow this amazing community of dreamers together. Want more? Catch my daily doses of inspiration on my Instagram @JenningsTechCorner. Also check out the show notes for more ways to connect. Remember, your accent is the voice of your ambition. Your background is your superpower. Let's dream big and achieve bigger. Until then, this is Anisha cheering you every step of the way.